Hi, I'm Carolyn.
And I'm Anna.
And we're two sisters who love handcrafting and figuring things out.
Welcome. Come on in. It is Saturday, September 7th, 2024. I remembered to say the year.
Nice.
And this is episode 56. And it's always so fun to spend some time together.
Hey, everybody. Hi. Yeah. Before we know it's going to be 2025. You realize that?
I like the sound of it.
I like 2025 too. That's going to be nice.
But I just heard that some people are taking a book of cross stitch and stitching everything in the book. So it's something like everything in the book 2025. That's not the
Okay. You know what? I'm going to be so into that because I've seen some people starting to do like fabric books, or is that what you're talking about? Like, will it be fabric in a book, or is it like you're stitching
saying like a Blackbird book with 8 projects? They're going to do all 8 projects. That's what I mean.
Oh no, I'm not going to do that.
But I like your idea.
I'm not going to do that. This is what I've been thinking about. This is totally off topic as well.
2025.
2025. I've been really curious about people that have been stitching little things and like either putting them in like a journal or doing like a fabric book. So it's almost like you just have little pieces that you've stitched.
Are you thinking about that with your knitting?
Maybe.
And we're jumping way ahead.
We're jumping way ahead. There's also that woman, I'm going to put her name down here, that Joan is really inspired by, that does lots of little stitches. Rebecca. It's a Rebecca something. I'll put her Instagram handle down here. But on her post, like recently, she had these tiny little pieces that were all individual mini quilts, but then she put them in a grid pattern along the way. Oh yeah,
we got to get something up on our walls.
Okay, but I like this about 2025. Okay, something about.
So once I heard that, I went, ooh. We don't really have very many books, but I thought, what about? Well, you love variations on a theme.
Yeah.
Let's let that simmer.
Let's think about it on variations on a theme. Okay. So other news. So first, in this episode, what we're going to do, of course, we're going to do a little chit chat. We're going to talk about what we're wearing. We are going to share finishes, whips, plans. We're going to get curious about.
Ooh, it looks heavy.
It is. What's in this box of sampler patterns? Don't worry, we won't do the whole thing. And then, of course, we'll end with our thumbs up. So let's think. Thank you again, everybody, for your comments. So fun seeing them all. We had definitely some themes.
Yes, and one theme I just wanted to pull out because there were many people who weighed in on this. Carolyn, you want to hold that up?
Yeah.
Is stitching one of the autumn salt boxes right now, and she had a question about over 1 because you're using over dyed thread. And this is 36 count or 40 count?
It is 36 count, and there's a little barn decoration here on this red barn, and it is done over 1. That's what I was talking about last time. I'm just curious about, okay, if you have an over dyed thread, it's like you're going from over 2 to over 1. What do people do?
Yeah, so we had people do a lot of different things. So you're going to have to experiment and see what works for you. Some people just use the same thread, just do it over 1. Some people said if I'm stitching a motif that's over 1, I use the same thread. But if I'm stitching lettering, I use 103. One person said she just uses sewing thread, which I've never tried sewing thread on cross stitch fabric.
Right.
Someone said you can use the 10th stitch. I had forgotten about that option.
That might be the first thing I try. Well, first thing I'm going to try is the same thread over 1, just an X. But next, I'm going to try that 10th stitch. I didn't even think about that.
I mean, I've heard it many times. We've even talked about it, I think. But sometimes then when the moment comes, I forget. And then someone shared her guideline. If she's on 46 count, she uses Swatsurfine for over 1, 36 to 40 count, 103 for over 1, 32 to 36 DMC. So 36 is in that, I think lots of things can work.
Right. And it looks like this particular over one is just like sort of a black and white or a gray and cream combination. So I think we have a pretty good 103 stash. I think that could be a candidate too, is trying the 103. And I even think if it's silk against cotton, it could be kind of cool because it's a little accent piece on the barn.
Great.
So we'll keep you posted. So everybody, thank you for weighing in. It was really great just seeing all those ideas come through. We, collectively as a community, we have so much knowledge, you all. It's great. Okay, let's see. Anything significant from the last 2 weeks? All right, I'm going to tell you a wah story. Over the last 2 weeks, I've had 7 no crafting days.
It is shocking.
To put this in perspective, I hate when people give stats but don't tell you what's normal. So you're like, okay, is that good or is that a lot or little? I typically have 1 no crafting day in a month. This is 7 in 2 weeks.
I'm sorry.
I know. I'm really feeling it.
That almost always means
I'm too stressed. I'm too busy. I'm too busy.
Yeah.
Part of it is just, of course, school. Just starting a year off is busy. And another fun thing is we did a great camping trip that I'll talk a little bit in thumbs up to Lassen National Park for Labor Day. So super fun, but I don't really do a lot of crafting then. And then the lead up to that, getting ready with school and then kind of coming back. So I got to get back into my crafting because I really feel it.
Yeah, I hope that this week brings you 7 stitching days.
Thank you. May your week bring you.
May your week bring you
7.
Maybe that's how we need to say goodbye at the end of our week. And the next 2 weeks bring you 14 stitching days.
Or crafting days. It doesn't
crafting
necessarily.
days.
Yes. Okay. All right. Anything from you?
Well, sort of oppositely, my role at school has shifted a little bit this year, and I'm feeling there's some things that I've done for a really, really, really long time that I'm not doing anymore. So there's a little bit of like, oh, wow, that's the end of an era kind of feeling. But for the most part, it's feeling really good. So I've been feeling like I have a little more energy in the evenings and the weekends.
That's great.
So that confirms that the shift I made was the right thing for me at this point in my career.
Yeah. I think a big thing for me last year, I did something completely different that actually had very little work outside the classroom. I didn't have any grading. I had to do like project prepping, but not that. So often I was done by 4. And this year I'm teaching math, and the way I teach math, I have feedback every night. And so I typically am there from like 7 to 5:30. I'm usually done by 5:30 when I leave. So I think that's just being done before versus 5:30. It makes a big difference.
Right. And doing that, like when you're giving feedback, this is like you're really using your brain. So that hour and a half or 2 hours at the end of school, and you're really still all in it.
Right.
Instead of easing off a bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So worth it.
I'm done.
It's so fruitful for the kids.
I'm done whining. I know. It's like one of those things I go like, okay, could I do less? And I'm like, it makes a difference for them. It really does. So I'm going to keep going. All right, let's toast.
Let's toast.
We are back to we have Phil's again. Anna picked it up on the way. I'm trying something new. I'm trying a spiced vanilla soul. It's really good. It's kind of like cardamom-y, cinnamon-y.
And I'm having my typical small mint mojito. And notice how Phil said, made with love.
Who made yours with love?
Malika.
Mine's Jack.
Thank you, Malika.
Thank you, Jack. All right.
And we're going to toast we're about to go see Bay FC women's soccer game tonight together. And let's toast to women's sports.
Let's toast to women's sports. There's a fantastic tagline that I love that's going around that's like, everyone's watching women's sports. And I just love that. People are wearing it on t-shirts. And I just feel like women's sports is just in a heyday right now for men, women, family. So everyone's watching women's sports. So spicy and good. Spicy in a good way. Hey, Anna, what are you wearing?
Well, I'm wearing a store-bought tunic. I was sharing with Carolyn that I have not been sewing garments since I started cross-stitching a lot. And so the what are you wearing segment is feeling like a lot of times I'm not wearing something that I made, where I used to wear something I made at least half the time.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and some of the things that I made 5 years ago are starting to show wear, which is fine, or like maybe even my style has changed a little bit. So we're talking about what's going to happen with this segment, and we're not quite sure. But I thought, okay, I'm still going to show you that tunics are my jam. I love the feeling of a tunic. I love wearing a dress. I love wearing a nightgown. But in a tunic, I feel like I can do like anything, like sit on the floor at school easily and things like that.
So it's kind of like a little bit like a dress, but you got pants on underneath it.
Yes.
Nice.
So what are you wearing, Carolyn?
All right,
Something very
I
exciting.
know. I'm wearing a new finish, and this is the Marble Mount sweater, and it was designed by Locatelli, who is a really famous and beautiful knit designer who lives in Argentina. Well, she's beautiful, but I'm really talking about her patterns are beautiful. And the whole thing is beautiful. Her whole thing is beautiful. The yarn I'm using, it's called Luxe, and it's by Sonder Yarn. And here I'll show you the details, Sonder Yarn. So it's primarily wool, merino, has a little bit of cashmere, a little bit of nylon. And Sonder Yarn is out of Quebec. And this colorway I'm using is called Cinema.
I'm like, that does not look cinnamon to me.
No, it's Cinema, mama. Okay. I knit this at a gauge of 24 stitches to an inch, and it's a fingering yarn on size US 5 needles. That meant a lot to you knitters, not so much to cross stitchers. Okay, this is a new finish for me. In fact, I just finished binding it off today. I still have my threads and lots of stuff attached to it. We'll do a catwalk so you can see it. Super happy with it. I finished it and I said, okay, I'm not quite sure about everything. I'm going to have Anna give me the honest sister opinion. And she said, everything's good.
I wouldn't change anything.
So I'm going to weave my ends in, block it, and I've got my new fall sweater. So I love it. It feels great. I really like the neckline. I like a neckline that's not too tight against her neck. I like this little bit of lace detail to it. I do my edging for both my hem and my cuffs. I think in the last time I had done this, but I do something called an I-cord bind off, and it gives me, I think, this really nice little edge. I'm also a real fan of, again for knitters, a 3x1 ribbing, because it still reads like stockinette, but it pulls it in just a little bit and keeps it from rolling.
Yes.
So it's not quite as dramatic as like a 1x1 ribbing.
Yeah.
So super, super happy with this. Can't wait for it to cool off. I might have to pause in a minute and take it off because it's a little bit warmer here, but I did want to wear it. So this is a finish for me.
It's beautiful.
I'm feeling sweaters so much. I don't know if everybody remembers, I was knitting a colorwork sweater last year that was a turtleneck. And when I finally put it on, like I'd gotten the body down to here, turtleneck was like, so I've got to rip out the turtleneck and kind of redo it. And I just kind of totally stalled on it. But I'm into sweaters right now. I think, you know what, Carolyn, just go and take that turtleneck off right now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to wait till I'm done filming, but take it off right now and just get going on that one.
All right. And before you watch the catwalk, you're going to see I'm in a boot. I broke my toe, but it's already healing. I'm fine. So no worries.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a slipper boot.
Yeah, it's a broken toe boot. I'm sure so many of you have broken your toe and you just have to keep that toe from bending. So,
but particularly we're going to highlight this in the catwalk. Anna has some kick-ass socks on.
I learned it from your granddaughter.
Yeah, she was.
I'm not kidding.
For those of you that are old enough that remember the good old tube socks back in the 60s and 70s, that's kind of come back around. They're sort of shorter style tube socks with those stripes on them. And my older granddaughter was wearing them at the beach, and we're like,
so cute.
She
wears them with a pair of Vans. I mean, can you get any cuter?
And a little dress.
Plus Susan, who's our stylish sister.
That's true.
Told me that socks that are shown instead of a no-show sock are in, and they must look intentional. So you have to like go for it.
Okay, I'm going to tell, this is like total chit-chat, family chit-chat, but while I'm thinking of it, Lynn and I were talking about, we're going to our niece's wedding and it's going to be out on like a farm venue. Let's wear sneakers with our dresses.
Well, definitely for the dancing.
But let's get a new pair of sneakers, all of us.
Okay, I thought, I'm only hesitating because a pair of velvet booties are arriving in my house.
Oh, okay, whatever.
But I'm not sure they're going to fit.
Okay.
And the heel might be too high. So
okay.
I like that.
You have your dress?
I have a possible dress, but I'm like, meh.
Okay, we'll have to talk about this offline. We'll talk about it at the soccer game tonight.
But I love that idea. But are we showing our socks with sneakers?
Perhaps. We'll have to see, depending on what the look we want.
Okay, definitely we could do that for Friday night.
Yeah.
If not for Saturday.
Yes. Okay. October.
We're back.
October family wedding. We're back.
We'll tell you all about that.
And let's insert our catwalk.
Okay.
Finished objects. In my 7 no crafting days, I actually finished 3 things. So thing number one.
It's just so funny. Is ironic the right word? Carolyn crafted very little, and she has 3 finishes.
All right, I finished Yaya's sampler. I know I was really close to a finish last time, and I really just sat down and finished this. And this was a recharted inspiration, a reproduction sampler from my husband's side of the family by marriage. So his uncle, who was married to his mother's sister, his uncle's mother was a Greek living in Egypt. And she stitched this in 1808. And Marika Kawani was her name, but the family all calls her Yaya. That's just what they grew growing up. And my husband's uncle had the original, let me insert a picture of the original here, in his uncle's study, and my husband just remembers it and it being striking to him. So when I got the opportunity to get this picture and restitch it, I did so, and I really love it. I have added myself down in the border, and that's CQS. Those are my initials, and I finished it in 2024. Few details about this. This is stitched on 36 count brown paper by XJU Designs, and the thread is Gloriana Silk Schoolhouse Red, and it's stitched 1/2. How I'm gonna FFO it is I'm gonna hem stitch it because it was finished. The original was, I have all these yarn threads hanging out, was done with sort of like almost like a quilt binding finish. So I'm gonna finish it with a hem stitch. And then I'm going to take it to a local professional framer, because what I want it to be is I want it then to be somehow mounted on a piece of foam core that's been covered with linen. And I saw in the window they had something similar, and then I want to get that framed. So I want it to feel like a hem stitched sampler, but then mounted in a way that it can be framed. Right. Probably no glass. That's my thinking right now.
Really elegant and pretty. Mm-hmm. Hey, speaking of that, another commenter, I had a little tiny hem stitch finish in the last video, and she said, why not make a small pillow and tack it onto the pillow? Mm-hmm. It's a good idea.
So I think those are interesting with a hem stitch. I have to decide, and it may not be until next summer when I'm hopefully retired.
Oh, you're going to be retired.
It just depends on when I have the time and the bandwidth, but I think I'd like to make this pattern available to people. I want to check in with the family. I think my first preference will probably be free, or if they feel strongly, maybe get some money and donate it to something. But I want to get that family's permission before I do something like this, since it is theirs. But I think I think people would really enjoy stitching this, because I did. Now I want to share a comment. In the last video, Ann and I were just talking about how we think it's so important for women to be able to say what they're good at. And we try to teach our students at school that
it's not bragging, it's just true.
I'd love to share a comment that we got. It's a comment that we got from Katie Strack, and I don't feel like I'm revealing anything because it was a public comment on the last FlossTube. But she was just talking about, I was also a little bit worried about or playing with this idea, like I want to put my name on here because I stitched it. I don't want to make this think like this was Marika's, because that's, that was hers. And at the same time as I wanted to kind of put myself, like, just kind of, not hidden's the right word, but I didn't want to put myself up.
Second tier, maybe?
Second tier. And Katie really responded to that and trying to think about that comment versus how we say we want women to really be proud of them. So I want to share this because I think it's so important for us to all think about. All right, blah, 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 quote. Carolyn, you're already in Yaya's sampler. Front and center. No matter how you choose to represent it, you charted it, you stitched it, you made choices on linen and thread that are necessarily different from the original because you're stitching in a different time. And most of all, you chose to do all of this because it meant something to you. And then she goes on. Now, that doesn't mean you have to put your own mark front and center and disrupt the design, but it's not inserting yourself to do so. You're already there. I just love that.
I know. She's a beautiful writer.
She's a beautiful writer. That's acknowledging an existing reality, not inserting yourself. If as women we struggle at owning what we're good at, I think we can also struggle with owning our own agency. Okay, it's almost like bringing me a little bit to tears.
I know.
I'm going to print this out. I'm going to keep this. It's such a powerful thank you. Katie, thank you for taking that time to share that. It really means a lot to me, and it really does help me think about, we are putting ourselves in these, and this is me as much as this is Marika. So Katie, thank you. And I think that's something for us all to kind of think and chat about as we go about our cross-stitching adventure and our life adventure.
You know, when I'm the person who answers our comments for the most part, and when I think I just wrote something like right on, Katie, because I had that feeling of like, I don't know if you've ever seen or been to the store Gather here in Boston, and they have t-shirts and things, and it's a hand holding like a crochet hook, a knitting needle, and just sort of like the power in crafting. And
yeah.
It reminds, that's why.
Like, what was the song? Like, we are women, we are strong. I don't know. It's just, women, let's just remember how powerful. And so, hey, everyone's watching women's sports. So, again, Katie, thank you for taking that time. And of course, your beautiful elegance of language really helps us to stop and really pause and think about things.
And your expertise.
And
how much you've reflected for yourself on these things. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah. Okay.
I might print it out too.
Yeah.
Katie, you might need to write a book.
Can you have Katie, can you have an inspirational retreat where we all come and stitch and you inspire us? Okay.
Okay.
All right. That was finish number 2. And then here's finish number 3.
I've been waiting to see this.
Talk amongst yourselves while I'm putting it on my board. All right. This finish was Weeds and Wildflowers, designed by the Artsy Housewife. And this is in celebration of Caroline of Evertote's 50th birthday. It's her Sal, #Caroline 50 Sal. And can I say, Caroline, let's just celebrate your birthday every year. It's been such a fun celebration. And here's my finish.
Let's do this whole video, just ask people in the cross stitch community to keep doing all the good things they're doing. Caroline, can you do a birthday box plus 1 year next year?
Katie, can you host an inspirational workshop, please, in the Bay Area, local? I know. Please do things for us, everybody. All right. What did I not love about this piece?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely nothing. The design, fantastic. The linen, fantastic. The threads and color choices, amazing.
The fun of looking at the inspiration quilting fabric and seeing how the design grew from there.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Okay. Oh, here's my FFO plans for this. I'm going to frame it with a thin, I'm really into the signed in number. They have something called a peewee frame. It's quite cute. Peewee. I've done it now too with the peewee. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it with a wood. And I often leave about a ½ inch. I'm going to frame this one much closer. I might even bring it out just like maybe 4 linen
I thought you were going to say the opposite.
No,
2 inches.
I want this to really feel like you're in it. And the peewee frame is so thin, it's not like the frame is going to compete with the size. So that's my idea. And I think I'm going to do, at first I thought maybe I'd try to do a colored frame. They have maybe about 40 different colors. But I did that one, that Modern Folk Embroidery one for Joan with a very thin wood frame, and it reminded me of paw. So I'm going to do a wood. And I think a wood frame would really be nice with the color palette here. All right, I'm not done with this color palette. It's so rich and sophisticated.
Keeping it on the ring?
I'm keeping it on the ring. And what I love about it, for how I'm going to use it, it has lots of colors where it's like the same color family but different value, like a light and a dark. So I want to follow on with my knitting idea, and I want to cross stitch like a fair isle, which is a color on color, because it uses a lot of like a dark brown, a light brown, a dark red, a light red. And so I think this has a great palette for this. And there's enough linen at the bottom. I'm going to like cut this here because I'm going to make a kind of a small Fair Isle band or some little things. So I think I'll have enough linen with that little scrap right there.
Cool. You can have mine too if you want to make 2.
Okay. So I'm going to get my border on this, cut my linen, and then play around with that.
Congrats.
So, Gigi, Carrie, Caroline, thank you.
I know that everyone who's stitching this is loving it, and it's a lot of stitching. So it's taking us a while to get there with this.
Yeah, like
loving every stitch though.
The moth and the flower, the bigger flower, it's pretty much full coverage with some detailed like mosaic stitching in here. So fun. I thought it was a great combination. Like I would do some of the detail and then I would work a little bit on the border, which you kind of can memorize pretty quickly. Or like down in here and up in here, there's a lot of just same color.
I felt the exact same way.
My next thing now is I need to get my next Artsy Housewife going. She has so many good ones.
I was thinking that this morning of like, what will be my next one? I was thinking of I want to buy some of the new patterns that are out.
So I have a couple in mind, but I can't decide yet. So probably by the next video, I'll let you know what my next Artsy Housewife is going to be. Kind of like Kathy Barrick. Some ways I feel they have some similar characteristics. I can see why, and I'm going to maybe start Artsy Housewife fan club too, because I think the two of them go well together. I feel like I always want a Kathy Barrick going, and I always want to have an Artsy Housewife going.
It's like, Kathy, are you stitching one of Gigi's designs? Gigi, are you stitching one of Kathy's designs? I wonder
if they know each other. I wonder if they're friends.
Because I think they should be friends. If you're not already.
But you know what I mean? Like I can see they're totally different designers. They totally have their own. But I think part of this, they have you look at either one and you're like, that's Kathy Barrick.
Signature.
That's a Gigi. Like, yeah. Thus endeth what I've done for 2 weeks. That's it. Well, I haven't worked on any other whips. I was just into those finishes.
I'm glad you had the satisfaction of your finishes, even though you've been missing your daily.
I did. They were both everything was really fun. Okay, Anna, let's talk about some whips.
Okay, I went home from our last video and I had held up these patterns and I went home and started. Oh no, I know. I had cut the fabric for them and I was saying that the red of the Aztec red, the week's Aztec red, had left red on my ironing board.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so what did you do?
So I kind of ignored it because I didn't want to face it. But then I realized, let me see, I'm going to show you a good example. I mean, there were actually water splotches.
Oh!
Can you see them right here? So I have to address this in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
And
I'm not sure that's showing up.
And I didn't see them at first either. And
will they be covered if you stitch on them, or is it just like you don't want this idea of the dye kind of leaching out?
Yeah, some commenters said like actually that there's a chance that as you pull your white thread through, it's going to start. And I even felt like I don't even want to put these in the drawer with all my other stitches, and that I need to try something. So what I'm going to try is I'm going to soak all of this Aztec red in water with a color catcher.
Oh, that's right.
See what happens.
We got those color catchers when we were doing our bleeding.
I was trying to set the dye for the hand dyed threads.
Yeah.
And I used Retain. And then it sort of freaked me out because it had formaldehyde in it. And then I watched Jean Farish's video of how she sets threads and she uses color catchers. She did a bunch of experimenting with it. So,
and haven't you since thrown away that?
Yeah,
it was so gross.
I'm sure it's fine. And even a commenter said that she uses it to set her quilting fabric, the dyes in her quilting fabric. You know how sometimes if something starts to bother you, there's just no turning back.
Yeah.
So I had to find another solution for myself. Anyway, I did start this, and it is going to be, I mean, look at that. It is going to be so cute. This is 56 count Aztec red. I'm using Soie Blanc.
Anna!
And it looks so good. I love stitching tiny.
And you know what? This is a beautiful red. This is a beautiful red.
I wanted to say that too. Like, I do not want to give up on this, and I know there's lots of other red. I love the Cedar River.
I think the Cedar River could be, but
Katie held up another red on her video. It was like a brighter red. I really like the color of this red.
Yeah, that's gonna look amazing.
I'll let you know next video. And then I'm like, what? I'm gonna have to. Do you have like a tub I could use to borrow?
Yeah, just use the one that we block in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was my first start. That was a new start, and I wanted to keep stitching, but I thought to myself,
stop.
In fact, I don't know whether I'm just going to throw this started fabric in with the color catcher or whether I should take it out.
No, put it in because I think it would be an interesting test too to see will it bleed and attach to the silk.
Okay, and I do have some extra fabric, so I have room to mess around because I would like to do all three. These are by Shakespeare, Peddler. I forgot to say that too.
So Anna gave me an amazing 56 count stitched ornament last year for Christmas. So, you know, I'm wondering if she's thinking about one of these. It might be really nice to give her sister.
Let's just say that I have thought of all 4 sisters in our Pennsylvania Dutch heritage and how beautifully, since we pick a sister's name every year for Christmas, that there might be some legs in that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. No, who's not going to like that? I'm sure everybody's seen Brenda and Laura's most recent video. In fact, I just started watching it last night. I'm like way behind again. 7 days no crafting. But they're really into 56 count right now. And they're like, we're doing it. Yeah, Brenda's like, I can do it. She goes, my eyesight's not great, but I have a magnifier, I have a good light. And she just finished something. Laura just finished something on 56 count too. So people are doing it.
No pressure out there, but if it is fun for you, it is a new look for me. Like I like using different kinds of threads and trying different kinds of things. And
I think everyone's saying
it actually makes my heart race a little bit with excitement about how tiny it is and how, well, even if you're not into cute, I happen to be into cute. I find it really cute.
Yeah. And again, everyone's saying good magnifier, good light. It's possible.
I even thought maybe I could only do it in the daylight, but then after I got the hang of it, I could do it at night too. So here's where I am with my Weeds and Wildflowers. And here's a progress photo from last time. I essentially worked on the moth a lot. And I wanted to try outlining a large space. So that left wing is outlined to try. But I finished the right wing, I did the body, and just enjoying. This is tucked away for September because I'm focusing on samplers.
Oh, that's right. You said you were going to work on it and then put it away.
Exactly. So I think I worked on it for 4 or 5 days and then it's tucked away. But I will be happy to see it again. And again, beautiful bag. This is where the inspiration for the flower came from.
This is making me think about Evertotes, and they said they are going to sell the pattern for their sort of December stitch along advent separate from the box. I did that last year where I just got the pattern and I stitched along and I used my own stash of Roxy Flosco. I'm going to totally do that again. That was so fun.
I'm thinking about it.
I'm just thinking, I think Evertotes does such a beautiful job collaborating with others and putting together these fun sales.
Yeah. I like when there's something like that and there's lots of options of ways for people to opt in. All right, so at the start of September, I started Mary Finley from the Scarlet House on 36 count button box medium dark, which is a mason linen, and called for MPIs. I'm just gonna say right now, if I was stranded on a desert island and before I was stranded, if I was sent to a desert island and I could bring 10 things, one of the things I would pick would be MPI silk.
Okay.
I haven't stitched with it in a while. I love it.
Okay, do you like it more than 103?
If I had to pick one thread, that's what I'm going to pick MPI now.
Okay.
But I'm also, my next project is 103.
Okay.
I love that too.
Yeah.
So thankfully we don't have to choose.
Yeah.
I am housing Mary Finley in my beautiful bag from Catherine, Misty of Chincoteague bag. It says Misty right here. Catherine of Stitching and Costume. Thank you. It has an exterior pocket. So I'm using the exterior pocket for the threads that I'm using presently. And everything else is tucked away in the zip.
I like
pocket.
this longer, like the, let's say, portrait versus landscape, because you can just slide everything in.
I don't have much experience with
Look at that handle. It's really nice. It's great design.
So here is good old Mary Finley. And you can, if you're interested, get her through Kitten Stitcher. It's a Kitten Stitcher exclusive. And I just got in a groove. I just started and just boom, 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 boom. I think I worked on it for 4 days or something. That's a lot for me for 4 days. And I am bringing up, there is a lot of the green and red. It's sort of like an olive green and a brick red, which I love the combination. But for me, this top half had so much of that green and red, and there were other colors down here that I loved. So I'm bringing up one of the other red and sort of the blue green.
I see it.
Up into the alphabet so that, just because I wanted some of this yumminess up here.
I see. So your letters are in a different red than the other. Will you just be doing the blue and red that's blowing out a little bit, or will you also put in some of the green up there for the letters?
No, I'm gonna stick with the blue and the other red. And I might make some changes too. Like I'm toying with this row of green trees. I'll wait till I get there. There's a pink down here. I might bring something up. I do like how orderly and balanced and this sampler is, but I want to mix up the colors a little bit.
Particularly since those trees are made of these they're almost like little balls. You could throw in a little something like one of those or a couple of those. Or this would be a time where, kind of how I did on, I can only think of it as the quills, Emmeline Hotchkiss, like even getting a slightly different green and making a few of them let's go in our stash, right? Because it's,
do we need to go up to Needle in a Haystack, Carolyn?
We may have to go.
See, even another green in that family, because MPI comes in families.
we have a good MPI stash, but it's always good. You're going to see, you all, our shared supplies are woeful.
It's really, we're
almost embarrassed. We need to go to Needle in a Haystack. No, we're kidding. We're happy.
So this is going to be taller and thinner, even though I could see that shape a little bit from the picture. I was surprised at how
narrow.
That's the word I was looking for. Now, I got a problem though, people. I might need a restart. I don't know.
Why?
There are lines in this fabric that I could not iron out. I don't know if they're going to show, but do you see here?
I sure do.
And here?
I sure do.
And I thought, are they going to go away once it's laced?
Yeah.
Are we going to even see it if I frame it close in? But it is, every time I pick it up, I look at that and I think, should I restart and use this fabric for something smaller? And what do we do? Like, I must say, I think I'm a pretty good ironer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's almost like I have to wonder, did this get folded while the fabric was damp or something like that? I have no idea about the process, and I'm enjoying stitching on this, and I think it's a beautiful color. I cannot get these lines out. I don't know if they're showing.
I wonder, let me,
can we hold it at an angle?
Let's see if we can see them. You can see, yes, keep it like that. It's these right here. And then that right there.
And there's some horizontal ones, but it's those vertical ones. Or maybe I need to increase my ironing skills. Because sometimes other floss tubers hold things up and they're ironed so flat. Yeah. I'm thinking, what am I missing?
Okay, so a couple of things. Because this is MPI, you can block it when you're done. And I think blocking it's going to get it out. I think the blocking's going to do it. But I think I think you're going to need to wet block this.
Okay.
And this is a great thing. You all really came through for us with the over one. What do you do when you have, because we do have some linen where those folds are pretty strong, and no matter how, and sometimes I almost feel like it's almost like these little wrinkles sometimes that have a hard time getting out as well. So what do people do with their linen? Do they have a good ironing technique? Did you use best press on this?
I did not. No, I did not.
And then do we not worry about it? And does it, when you go to lace it or block it, does it come out? I'm
not super strict about archival things, but when I'm doing a sampler, I do wonder what's in best press. Is it considered archival?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's just a natural starch. But yeah, I hear you. I do feel like that's if you're gonna have to wet block it.
Now,
I do think it's gonna come out.
In my quilting fabric, I sometimes get like the sun bleach kind of thing. It almost looks like a sun bleach, but I think this is something else. But it's pretty intense.
It'll be interesting. I'm gonna before you leave. Let me pull out my piece.
Okay.
And it's funny, my piece of linen doesn't feel as big as your piece.
Well, did you get 40? Because I'm on 36. Because you wouldn't need as big a piece.
I can't remember what I got. I got 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's look at mine though. I have mine ironed and it's hanging in the closet. So let's take a look at it. Okay, great. We'd love any tips. And again, we'll summarize in the next video what we find. Beautiful, Anna. Oh, Anna's just on a roll. She's got another one.
Exactly. One more thing.
Just sip on my spice vanilla soul. This is really good. I was drinking that honey haze in the summertime. It's gonna be my new fall.
Concentrating on
I wonder if Phil's is just a local Bay Area or if it's...
We talked about that because there used to be one in the DC area, but that one closed.
Oh, there was one in the DC area.
But I think there are others in the DC area, so I think they're expanding.
Oh, Anna, you've done a lot on this.
Well, I actually can't quite remember.
I'll find a progress photo and put it right here.
So this is Present for a Friend, 1862. It's a Hands Across the Sea samplers piece, and I'm doing it on 40 count The Cat's Whiskers by Tabby Cat using SWA 103.
Was that the call for linen?
Yes, this is called for, and this was a Hobby House exclusive, I think. Here's my project bag. Because all we have is just, I know, sorry, Carolyn, the 3 100 I'm really enjoying the limited palette. Really enjoying it a lot. Careful with that zipper. Okay. We don't want to hurt anybody's ears. So anyway, here's what it looks like. And here, we'll put in a progress photo because I can't even quite remember where I was. But over the last couple of days, I've put in this basket, started this flower, did a little bit on the border, put a few more checkerboards. When I have a little bit of length of thread in, I go put a little square in at the checkerboard.
I don't remember if... I don't know if it's showing up, but this is a very pale blue.
Oh yeah, I think that's worth mentioning.
It looks so good on that, Anna. It looks so crisp and good.
And I think I've said before, I know this design is not for everyone, but it is for me. I think it is playful. I think there's movement. I think because I'm a teacher and I spent some of my time teaching at a cooperative nursery school, like, okay, you could think like a preschooler did those figures, or maybe it's Picasso-like. I don't know. I think it's fun, and I've been wanting to try like a bigger tile finish and Velcro something onto the wall, and this is what keeps coming to me when I think about when I finish. This is huge. It's gonna be a while. It's gonna be some years until I finish this, but like I might not frame it. I might just lace it and put it on the wall. Maybe even at school. I don't know.
You'll be retired by the time you finish it.
That's true. That's true.
We're getting punchy. We're getting to that age in life.
It's exciting to think about the next season of life.
That's exciting.
That is it. So those are my 4 whips.
Anna, you have done some great progress and good selection. Right? Yeah, cool.
Thanks. I'm enjoying all 4 of these things.
And I think that leads very naturally into our plans. So Anna, why don't you keep going with your plans?
Okay, so for September, I am going to work on Mary Finley for part of every week, and then pull a sampler out of my drawer for the other part of the week. So this week I pulled out Present for a Friend. I'll probably stitch another night or 2 on this, and then go back to Mary Finley. And then I think I'm going to go back to Betsy Fisk, which is on 56 count. So you'll see that next. And then Smith Sampler.
You got to get that out again.
And I have the Vicky Clayton Silks going on that one. Right. I almost forget what it's like to work on that. I haven't touched it, I don't think, in over a year. And then the other one that came into my mind is a little tiny old piece called Strawberry House Sampler, which I started as my birthday start, I think 2 years ago. My birthday's this month.
Almost finished with that.
I think I can finish it. So I thought, what if I finish that around my birthday?
Great. Speaking of that, we'll have another video before your birthday. Are you thinking about a birthday start?
I don't know. It's very interesting. I do like a festive start. I like some of these things that come up like Sampler September. I like some of these traditions in the cross-stitch world, but I also have a piece of me of like, I don't want to push it. Like I don't necessarily feel like I need a birthday start. I don't have anything in particular in mind. You know, I'm probably going to have one in the end. So we'll just have to see.
Because you did the Strawberry House 2 years ago. Did you have anything last year?
I think I restarted my BAP. my big awesome project.
Oh, that's right.
With, Inspired by Nature by Queen.
That's
Rose
right.
Needle. So that's another one. Because I'll have a few extra days at the end of September, I thought, well, maybe I'd bring out Inspired by Nature around my birthday.
You need to bring that one out.
I still absolutely love that one.
Yeah, yeah.
So, samplers.
Yeah, great.
I think I opened my drawer. I have a lot of whips now, and I really, really like most of them, if not all of them. So I think this is also why I'm not buying a lot of supplies. I'm feeling really satisfied with what I'm doing right now. So I'm sure I'll get the itch.
I think I'm feeling the same way.
At some point.
Yeah.
Okay, Carolyn.
So my plans is I'm super excited. I'm going to start my Sampler September project, which is Mary Finley. Okay. So I'm hoping we'll do our soccer game today, but I'm hoping tomorrow, I think I'm just going to have a good long stitch. Tomorrow will be Sunday. I do have some grading I have to do. Could do some housework. But I think I'm going to just stitch on that and get going on that. As for other plans, we'll see. All right. Shared supplies. Anna, what do you have?
I don't have anything. Carolyn, what do you have?
I have zip doodah. Okay, that was quick.
This is one of the reasons why I thought, let's get the sampler box out.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I really like seeing people's supplies personally.
Yeah. So what we thought we'd do with our We're Curious, but I would like to go up to Needle in a Haystack.
Let's put it on the calendar.
Let's put it on the calendar and let's maybe do it. I don't think we can do it the weekend before your birthday because I'm getting my hair cut. I'm going to BFC. Next weekend you're getting your hair cut. We'd have to go on Saturday.
Maybe early October.
Early October, or you're around your birthday weekend. Your birthday's on a Friday. Maybe that Saturday. Okay, ideas.
I like the sound of that.
So we have this box. Anna has graciously, about, maybe 2 years ago, she got these boxes at the Container Store. They're beautiful. Hi, Becky. And we have 9 of them. And we came up with different categories. I think we have to go revisit our categories.
Yeah, you've said that so many times.
Some of our boxes are getting heavy and other ones are kind of sparse.
And aren't you saying you're having a hard time finding things sometimes?
Sometimes. So
we may be going towards by designer more than by theme.
Yeah, it might be fun.
What does this box say? Oh, just samplers. I think we have one with like little samplers, big samplers. This is just...
It's just good old samplers. Might be fun one day to just like dump everything out and see what we have. And it might be a good time to be like a purge and be like, we'll stitch this.
Some giveaways.
Some giveaways. Okay. So we thought it might be fun. Let's just open this box and see what's inside. We won't maybe show you everything, but let's like maybe just take some turns pulling things out and if we want to show them.
Did you get that?
I got this at the attic. Okay, it's done by Priscilla Pocket and it's called Mary Allison, a Scottish sampler. And I got this because the model was there and the picture doesn't even begin to do justice to the model. We're gonna definitely have glare. And you'll see when I was at the attic, I got a lot of these samplers that they feel there's not a verse on them. It's like alphabet motifs, kind of a little bit bandy in that. Okay.
Right. This is Jean Walker 1812 by Needle Made Designs, again from our attic trip in the spring. And I think we were both loving this middle band.
Yeah, I think I would maybe modify that. I'm not big into Adam and Eve with a tree.
Yeah.
Or people in general. Yeah, that's good. This is a Scarlet House. This is Isabella Jackson, 1829. I think, again, it sort of has some similar characteristics. Let's see the best way to do this without glare. And as everybody that's gone to the attic before, you see all the samples, and that just helps you see. Oh, this one has the antique with it.
Right. We were really, I think, looking at bands. This is Jane Plenderleith, 1838 by Needlework Press. Again, this was some of our attic. We didn't show all of our attic supplies when we went there. Maybe, I think that might be another reason why we haven't been buying a lot of supplies. What was our trip in April?
Our trip was in April.
We really had fun. Wink, wink.
And then here are two, I'm really into the band samplers. There's one, the checkerboard stag, I think we talked about it last time, that I'm gonna do for my birthday start. And then this is called a Mexican band sampler. I just love, whether it's again, going back to how I love knitting and just bands and designs. And then this is called Mexican Schoolgirl practice. That's a cool thing from Samplers Remembered. This one, the sample was so amazing.
Yeah,
I think
love that one.
I think that this would be the, and it made me, having these different, like 2 different Mexican, I would love to learn more about Mexican samplers.
I think about it with this practice one. One of the things I really like in a lot of crafting is when something's a little off. And I think when we're practicing something can be a little off. And yet when we are stitching here in 2024, if something goes a little off, oh no, I gotta fix it. It's funny.
Yeah, it's okay for things to go off.
Okay.
This is one, and I think that really caught you.
30. I don't know how to say this. It's by Reflet de Soie. Is that how you say it? Something about this. Love, 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 love. That is near the top of my list of something I want to start. Oh, I wrote to myself a little note that I'm liking these shapes. I want to learn how to say the French.
En français. We have this, and we have 2 copies of this one. Emmeline Hotchkiss. I stitched mine, and then Anna had also gotten a copy. Were you thinking we might stitch this at the same time, or did we just both love this so much we just bought it? We both bought it.
Both. I thought I was going to start it sooner than, but I'm not sure I'm going to stitch it. I think watching you stitch it, this is happening to me sometimes, sort of like that's satisfying.
It's like enough for you,
even though I didn't do it.
Yeah, that's actually because we can't stitch everything, so it's kind of a neat way to do that.
This is the Jane Allen collection from Hello from Liz Matthews. Just, you know, we love the Pennsylvania Dutch style motif.
Okay, Anna, this I think is something you picked up. It's Sheepish Antiques, the EB sampler. I think, Anna, you're really torn to these, like alphabet, but then a whole collection of motifs.
Yes, and some of these old school, I don't know if that's from the 80s, but some of these ones from the 80s, I don't know if I just like that aesthetic or whether, I mean, I was cross-stitching in the 80s and then didn't cross-stitch for years and years and years. So is it some sort of leftover in my brain and in my heart from going to the...
You know when the way to contact the person is through an address or a phone number, well, particularly the address, you know it's old, or at least probably 90s.
This is one of the big Shakespeare's Peddler sampler, Ragamuffin number 2, a Quaker sampler. Again, as Carolyn said, when there are alphabets and motifs, I don't need a verse, I don't need a house to love a sampler. So I'm drawn to these.
Here I have 2 Brenda Gervais that I've always been attracted to, and I'm surprised I haven't stitched either of them yet. The first is the Salt Box Quilt Sampler.
I think I got that at Acorns and Thread.
You did. And I've been eyeing this for a long time. Again, we saw the sampler. And I've always loved this, Manor at Peacock Hill. And I think Vicki Clayton has it. And I'm not big on people, but I love that they're sideways on the border. This one, I think it's fun going through these. I'm like, I really want to stitch that one. I think that speaks to me a lot. Okay, I'm just kind of, I might just wine. Let's maybe show just one more.
We'll show that one.
Okay.
All right, this is Little Annie Lewis by Lottie Da. Lots and lots of alphabets, and then a few little animals at the bottom. So I think some of my favorite samplers must be in our small sampler box, like Anna Grader and a few, that kind of thing. Maybe we'll bring that out next time, depending on how much we have.
This is one, I've always loved this. It's Barbara Anna Design, Portuguese bird sampler. And I would definitely do a modification on it. Like I think, I would lose all of that. So whether I mainly want to do the center, but I also love this little thing down here. So maybe it's just as simple as getting rid of that or putting the alphabet in between, like putting the alphabet in between the 2 bands.
Oh, I think that would work
Actually,
well.
I think that's good. Okay.
Decided. Do you remember? Did you buy that? Did I buy that? I can't remember. I've now started writing myself a little note.
We should write in there who bought it and the date, like even the year for that. Anna, you know what? This might have been in the Kitten Stitcher sampler box that we got.
Oh, that would make sense for why I'm like, I can't quite place it.
This is neat though. I love how she's really integrated alphabets and borders. with a few little doodads at the bottom.
Yeah, let's keep that towards the top.
Okay.
So I'm also starting to put a little index card so we can actually write in the actual pattern, or this is the one I showed, and I said, I wanted to choose a European pattern.
Oh.
They look different to me. And then I like that kind of shape. So it has Attic Needlework, April 2024.
Yeah, that might be nice for us to do that.
Although I guess if it's not in plastic. Well, let's
I think most of them are
I
plastic.
do find it interesting to have a little note like that. It's sort of like the start of the sampler life with us.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a little peek there. A few more things in the sampler box, but Hannah, I think we have really good taste. I like what we have. I mean, there's very few things in there that I like. Not anymore.
Right. I do wonder. I think our taste is going to change and develop, and sometimes things will swing back. I make the analogy to fashion. So I think, do we give away things that don't appeal to us anymore at the moment, or do you hang on to them because it might swing back?
I mean,
I'm leaning towards sharing.
That's a really good point. In general, I don't like to have too much accumulated because then I can stop seeing what I really want to do. So I think I'm a little bit more of the flavor of, if I don't think I'm going to stitch it, putting it out there if somebody else wants it or feels like it's drawn to them.
Because
sharing.
we'll always have things that we love to stitch. So I don't want to also feel like, well, what if I really want to stitch that in 10 years?
You can always buy it again.
Or pick something else.
Or just pick something else.
Pick something else, Anna. All right, let's get into thumbs up. I have been listening to a few playlists that were made from the music that was selected for the Olympic breakdancing competition. When I'm driving, when I'm doing my house chores, it has this like bump, 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 bump. It is not real. It's a little frenetic.
Are there any lyrics, or is it all like electronic?
Some of them have lyrics for sure. Some of them are explicit, so if that bothers you, it
pumps you up.
I have to watch my speed limit. Let's say
Everyone's watching women's sports.
Everyone's
Pumps you up.
I am also going to give a thumbs up to I'm calling it the shared garden bounty that's happening at school. There's a little sort of common table for the adults, and last week there was a bunch of basil with a recipe for fried rice with basil.
Oh,
A couple of weeks ago it was.
Did you make it?
Tomatoes? Not yet.
Okay.
And then a parent brought in these huge vases of zinnias from her garden, and just sort of like, thank you, teachers. And it's just gorgeous. Anyway, I love it when you walk into school and there's just something that's been plunked on the table to share.
My older son calls that the magic table at work. Oh. He's like, when he started working, he's now like well in his mid to late 30s. When he first started working, he's like, Mom, people just leave like food out at the kitchen and you can just eat it. He was very poor at the time, and I think that's how he fed himself off the mat. He goes, it's like a magic table.
Okay, so that's what we call it from now on. My third thumbs up is just that wonderful feeling when your gutters have a ton of leaves from the oak tree in your yard, and then you clean them, and then you drive into the driveway and you go like, oh, the gutters are so clean. So in California, we definitely have a dry season and a rainy season, like a very extreme. So it hasn't rained in a long, long time, but it's coming. And if you don't get your gutters, we have a couple really big trees in our yard, which I'm very grateful for, but I had one more section to do in the yard. If you don't get those gutters before the big rain, then
our house doesn't have gutters, but we do have like our drain spouts. So if you clean those out. Is that how you broke your toe?
It was the same day. I was doing a lot of yard work. It was not related to the gutters. It was something else.
Yeah.
Carolyn, what are your thumbs up while I sip my mint mojito?
All right. My thumbs ups are all related to our Labor Day camping trip in Lassen National Park. This is now the third Labor Day we've done it, and we do it. My husband and I go, and then our other sister Lynn in this area, some combination from her family goes, and then our other sister Susan and her husband, or some combination comes. So we get 3 spots. We ended up couldn't get our typical spots, so we got different spots this year. They were better. They were fantastic.
Isn't that funny? Did you feel disappointed at first, and then you're like, oh, this is
I know. Better. We were disappointed we didn't get our spots. There's anybody familiar with Lassen, there's something called Summit Lake, which is a big lake, and there's a campground to the south and a campground to the north. So we've always stayed at fantastic sites on the south, which we couldn't get. So we were at the north, and our sites actually were like almost physically on the lake. It was unbelievable. So I'm not even at my thumbs up yet.
I need to chime in too before you get to your thumbs up, because Carolyn's husband is a really good photographer, and he sent just a couple of snapshots from his phone while they were away, and I wrote back, it is like it looked fake.
Okay.
Like you had inserted the people.
Was it the one where he's actually really good? Like when we're out and about, he often gets a beautiful landscape with some people in it. And often it's like is this the one where they're like
three
hiking
from the back?
Often he'll get us people from the back, and it sort of sets the stage, but you're really looking at the landscape. Okay, I'll insert that picture. I might be inserting pictures along the way.
Yes.
Okay, so here are my thumbs up about just camping in general and lesson. Number one is there's no cell phone coverage. None. Sometimes if you get up to like 10,000 feet.
Like, how did he send the photos?
He sent them probably
on the way home.
On the way home, or if you reach up to 10,000 feet, you'll have some cell phone coverage. So sometimes if we're like driving to a trailhead, all of a sudden our phones will start going like. So, but when you're at your campground, nobody's on their phone, nobody's on their laptop, nobody's although my niece was playing a few games on her phone. So
she's a teenager.
So chill and great. Thumbs up number 2 is Lynn brought this game called Yam Slam. Have you played it before?
No.
You would love it.
Never even heard of it.
Yam Slam, it's a variation on Yahtzee. But it's different. So it's in this really cool tin where you're rolling your dice in the tin. So like when you're campground, you have a great place to roll them. And you're rolling for chips. You're still getting things like 4 of a kind, all those different things, but you're getting chips and it's based on points. It's really fast moving. So one night we were just playing Yam Slam and it was great. I'm totally getting the game, and Anna, you would love it. In fact, maybe borrow it from Lynn and bring it to the soccer game to the tailgate, because Yam Slam would be really fun.
Okay.
So if you like Yahtzee, you will love Yam Slam. It's fast moving, super, like lots of chatting while you're playing. Thumbs up, Yam Slam. And then last is on Sunday. So one of our long days we were there, we did an 11-mile lake hike. Mm-hmm. So we were going, it was this great loop where there was some fantastic, and there were like probably like about 9 to 10 lakes that you hit along the way.
Amazing.
So we went out to the major lakes, and then we said at there we'll decide, do we want to turn around and come back, which would be like a 7 or 8 mile hike, or you want to do the whole loop. So we went out there and half the group went back, but then 3 of us did the whole thing. So my sister, my niece, and I, the girls, everyone watches women's sports, we did this long hike. And luckily I have something called All Trails. It's an app on my phone, and I have the pro version, which means I can download the maps, and then while you're going, it's using GPS or satellite, so you can see where you are on the loop.
So if you don't have cell phone coverage, you still
if you don't have cell phone coverage, you can still do it. So maybe it's using satellite GPS. It was great because part of the hike was an amazing hike. Part of the hike, because they've had fires there, we couldn't find the trail.
Wow.
But you look on your phone, and the phone will tell you on the map where the trail is and where you are. So I always carry a paper map whenever I'm hiking. But that really wouldn't help. This helped us fine. So a few times we're like, we got to go left, and then we get back on the trail. Along the way, my sister and niece, they went swimming. These lakes have to be like 50 degrees because it's just snow melt and rain. There's no inlet to the lakes and no outlet to the lakes. It's just water accumulation. So effing cold. And they got in over and over again. They would wear their bathing suits under it. So this loop we were doing, there were not a lot of people there. So at one of the lakes, I'm like, that's it, I'm going in. At least I'm going. So I'm just like stripping down to my underwear, ladies. So I just took my pants off, my shoes and my socks, and I waded up to like the top of my thighs. And I'm like, this is so cold.
Was it still refreshing?
It felt really great. And I was like,
I like doing
a little
too.
Bird bath.
I can't quite
they are amazing. They go in, they dive under, and I'll maybe put some pictures of them. They're so cute. So I was like trying to be inspired by them, but I couldn't go any further.
The mother-daughter duo.
I know. And cracking up, we did see a few backpackers. I'm like, hi, I'm like in my underwear, but when you're,
nobody cares.
Nobody cares. They kept saying, it's like a bathing suit bottom. So
fun.
Thumbs up.
Whew. Great.
Hey, everybody. That's it from us.
Until next time.
Happy crafting.
And stay curious.
And we wish you 14 days of crafting until we see you again.
We do.
We do. And to ourselves too. All right. Bye, everybody. Bye. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
How's my neckline? Is it even?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
I've got my pins on it.